Here we go. It's running. Hello, hello. In 5, 4, 3, 2, go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give it a second here. Just got to make sure we're being broadcasted. But again, today we have Fara Finkelstein, and she is going to talk to us today about how to hit our target market. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, you have your own business, you have a friend that has his own business, you know someone whose online business isn't doing so well. Well, you need to get them on the line right now because Farah is going to tell us how we can hit our target market. Oh my goodness. You really want to get everyone that you know on the line right now. If you know that they have their own business, you'll be doing them a favor. All right. So I'm going to give you even a second to share this video, share this link with your friends and your loved ones, because it will really help them get to the next level of their business. Yep, we are still in Financial Empowerment Week. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Tom Estes from Allstate. Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it. You will see his number pop up throughout the programming. Make sure if you want a good price on your home or auto insurance, you give him a call, all right? And he will definitely help you with that. So, Farah, welcome back. All right.
Thank you.
Just tell the folks a little bit about yourself in case they missed the last program.
Sure, absolutely. My name is Fara. I am a digital marketing consultant. I work for a company called Reach Local, and we are part of the Net USA Today network. So that's a little bit about, I've been doing this for about 8 years. I love helping my clients understand and teach them what is going on in the digital space. And last week, I spoke about more of the web presence and really that the direct advertising, people looking for what you do, they don't know where to go, be there, be present, what we could do now and how COVID is kind of changing our whole digital landscape. So today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different, and it's called targeted display advertising. And I'm going to share my screen with you.
Awesome.
So a lot of this is very visual, which is why it's very difficult to talk about this without actually showing something. So display advertising, right? I'm going to walk you through kind of, what it is, how it fits into, our consumer journey and what we do online. And then I'm going to give you a few examples of specific campaigns that I run and different strategies. So first to start, I always like to start with this, and this is the traditional marketing funnel, right? Back in the day, it was a very, it was an upside down triangle. Awareness at the top, right? Companies are trying to build awareness. They're using TV, radio, billboards, and print to get their message out. Then there was the information and research phase, which isn't really at all what it is today, which you'll see in the next slide. But really, I mean, back in the day, think about it. All they had was, their friends and family to get information from, maybe a few websites, Wikipedia, of course, Google, but Google is now way different than it was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then, they're going to have a desire and they're going to go to the yellow pages back in the day, and they're going to look for the business and they're going to contact you and convert into a customer. And also the way that they were able to target was very, very different, right? So it was kind of, we call it a spray and pray model. I heard that term once. And I love that because it's really like, you're spraying or you're trying to get your message out to hundreds and thousands and millions of people. And it's not very targeted. There weren't very many targeting options like there are now. Maybe you could have targeted by location, age, and gender. And that was really it. So today, obviously, that funnel is very different because there's so many different media points and ways where people can become aware of your service or your product. And there's also a lot of different ways where they can get information and read reviews and ask their friends and family and put out a question online. And the reach is just so much bigger for consumers as well as businesses. And a lot of times business owners, they don't really understand or they don't know how to really get their message in front of a consumer wherever they search online, wherever they surf online, and wherever they socialize, right? So this is also going back to the, someone looks at their phone 150 times a day. So think about the opportunity that is for a business owner to be in front of their potential customer, really whenever they're looking at their phone, whenever they're online on a tablet or a desktop. Now that we're home more, I think that people are using desktops and laptops a little bit more. So it's really important to keep that in mind. So I want to talk about how we target these consumers, right? So when Reach Local was acquired by the USA Today Network, we really were able to, grow our market size, and we gained a large audience that we never had access to before. So just talking about like the scope of the USA Today Network and really the reach that we have over 5,000 journalists across the country. We're in 46 states. We have over 300,000 clients. We reach about 1 in 2 US adults, and our news sites get over 175 million unique visitors every single month, right? So that is a huge amount of data that we have on our customers and our readers and what they're doing online from the beginning of their, research and awareness phase to the end of their journey where potentially they turn into a customer. Our audience on the USA Today Network is pretty affluent. And when I say affluent, I mean our audience has a 14% higher income than the general population. 67% of our readership is employed. And the average age is about 48. So, this is our audience, right? It's not really just about the collective sum of our audience that brings value to the campaigns that we run for our clients, but the real power is our ability to, really reach a niche audience with mass and scale at the same time. So we connect brands with our audiences, not just by age and gender alone, but by a whole bunch of different factors like life stage, lifestyle, interest, behaviors, passions, employment, titles. So I'm gonna kind of show you what that looks like as far as strategies and tactics that you can implement and that I implement also for my businesses. So site retargeting, and again, just going back here, a lot of times people don't understand where display ads show up. They're going to show up on really any website that allows an ad to show. And you see these ads all the time when you're searching on your, on news sites. They come up on weather.com. They come up on blog articles. And again, we can show these ads on the USA Today Network sites. So one tactic that I always think is super important for any business who has somewhat of a longer buying journey than an emergency service business would be site retargeting. And you see this all the time. When you go to a website, you leave, and then you see ads constantly over and over again throughout the next 30 days, right? The reason why we do this is because usually people are going to need to see an ad about 7 times before they actually make a decision. So staying in front of those customers and staying in front of those people that have had an interest and have been to your site already is really, really important. We can also target users who are viewing and reading certain blogs or articles that contain certain keywords, right? So this was an article that I was reading this morning, 23 best skincare products that will help you the most amazing skin of your life, right? This would be a great article for, let's say, a dermatologist or a cosmetic product company to show their ads on. And again, this is just one strategy that we can implement to stay in front of your consumers throughout their entire buying journey. Geofencing is another tactic that was very, very relevant before COVID. And I think it is still relevant, but in a different way. So what this basically is we are able to target people by their physical location, by their device types. So for example, if a consumer walked into a BMW dealership, they would most likely see ads for the closest Mercedes-Benz dealership because Mercedes-Benz wants to capture those people that are walking into BMW. And this can work for a whole bunch of different businesses. I mean, I do this for certain doctors. I do this for attorneys. You could do this for actual retail stores. So, you know, if people are walking into, let's say, a jewelry store, and a new jewelry store just opened up around the corner that wants to get local business, they can actually target competitors that are in their area. This addressable geofencing is kind of the other side of geofencing, where we're targeting actual individuals while they're in their homes, right? And we're doing this by property line data that we have access to. And it kind of works like direct mail, only it's digital and trackable, right? And it makes much better use of your marketing dollars than sending out a direct mail piece and hoping that somebody like needs your services and calls you. So there's also a lot of different criteria that we have the capability to implement when we're running these campaigns, right? So for example, we can target homeowners who have certain purchase behaviors, right? Do they buy jewelry? Do they buy children's products? We could target people by life events. Do they just have a baby? Are they married? Or do they just get married? We could target them by interest and behaviors, financial information, right? We can target people by their net worth and their amount of discretionary income. Right now, I think that's so important for businesses to understand that if you have a luxury product and people are really struggling financially, you may want to target the people with a certain, net worth who have a certain amount of discretionary income that they are able to spend on luxury items. And I'll show you a campaign that I actually run very successfully that that kind of uses that strategy. And the last tactic that I just want to mention is called OTT, or over the top. And I think the reason why this now is so important is because so many of us have done away with our cable service. We're streaming content on internet connections. Apple TV, Hulu, Roku, Amazon Fire. So we are able to show ads while people are watching some of these, these streaming services. And just a quick stat on how COVID has impacted this strategy and this tactic. Smart TVs are up about 60%, and streaming boxes sticks are up about 39% this year over last year. So obviously people are using internet connection more than they are cable now, more than ever. So just some quick examples. I was working with a local outdoor furniture store before COVID, right? And we were using, we were targeting people who physically entered other furniture stores in the area. Users who are most likely to move within the next 90 days, right? Because these people are probably going to be interested in getting a new piece of furniture, especially now for the outdoors. Visitors who have previously been to the website, again, was doing site retargeting for them. But once COVID started, we had to kind of change our strategy because nobody was walking into the competitor locations. So we started to target properties with in-ground pools in certain zip codes. We were also targeting people who are interested in landscape design and gardening and other outdoor activities. I was working with a tennis academy summer camp, and they were out east on the east end of Long Island, and it was a very beachy summer vacation town where people from really all over the Northeast would be members and go there and bring their kids there for the summers when they left their home, their main residence. So we were targeting people in zip codes around the New York metro area who had children between the ages of 3 and 13, who had a household income of $150,000 plus. It wasn't, inexpensive to belong and send your kids there for the entire summer. And then we were targeting people who were interested in tennis, sports, swimming, and other outdoor activities. And then the last, I just wanted to give you kind of an example of what I do for a lot of physicians. This is just one example of a plastic surgeon that I work with. So M-Sculpt is actually it's a non-surgical way to basically build muscle and burn fat with no sweat required, right? So it straps around your stomach, and they say about 30 minutes is equal to 20,000 crunches. So this is a machine that a lot of plastic surgeons now offer to their patients. So when a client that I worked with first got the machine, we decided it wasn't a very known machine yet, and it wasn't a very known procedure or treatment, if you want to call it. So we were targeting women between the ages of 30 to 50 who were interested in fitness and weight loss, who were interested in liposuction, right? Because they may also be interested in this after they have that procedure done. And it wasn't an inexpensive 30-minute treatment. So we were also targeting people with a higher discretionary income than the general population. So these are all just ideas, and I try to really be creative, especially now more than ever, because we're doing things so differently, and we really have to try to, again, adapt to all the changes that are going on. We are not able to see ads like we used to when we went to work every day on the highways and, on the radio. And, so it gives us all a reason to kind of look at the positive side and know that there is always a way to, generate new business even if you're not really familiar and sure of what to do and how to do it. That's why people like me exist. That's why companies like mine, like the USA Today Network and Reach Local, are here really to just help you understand and come up with the best strategy for the right time. So with that, I will pause and stop and see if there are any questions.
Okay, yeah, you caught me off guard because I was just sharing with a few people that are on LinkedIn and YouTube. And listen, this is amazing information
I
because
hope so. I hope it was
yeah,
helpful.
but because look, I mean, I don't think that a lot of times the things that we have as common knowledge is first information for a lot of folks. And for all the all the entrepreneurs and business people that are out there, like looking for answers, as to how do they know who is looking for their business online? Like you said it was like it's like more of a scatter shot. You're hoping that people are seeing what you're doing. You're probably paying a marketing company that sends you stats like once a month or something. But it's really good to know the specifics. And I think that what you provide, just as far as data, really helps that small, even if you're a small business, it really helps you understand your business more when you can see the data that surrounds it.
Exactly. Yes. And I think also that maybe that word, or, you know, all of this information that we have is
Mm-hmm.
intimidating to business owners. But
Right.
it's the business owners. Like I always tell my clients, tell me who your ideal client or customer is. Who, what age are they? What do they do in their spare time? If you know that information, right? If you don't know
Mm-hmm.
that information, I can probably get that information for you to target the right audience and the right type of person.
And that's the case also, because like as a business owner, I'm always looking for that person that wants to be a client. How many people really want to join a network that promotes their business or promotes their brand? And so this is the whole purpose of what I do. So it's like, I'm not sure how many people are interested in something like that. But what you can do is kind of like go through the the forest and the hills per se, right? Of Google and Yahoo and all the dominating search engines, and really kind of find out what people are looking for in my area, in my field,
Yeah, a
which makes
hundred
it,
percent.
yeah, which makes, like, for me, that would be peace of mind in a sense where I'm like, okay, now I know I'm not just kind of like hallucinating that this is a need, you
Yeah,
know?
and I think it's also really important to stress the fact that it's not about where your ads are being placed a lot of the time. It's about who is seeing the ads, right? So, if let's just say a sports equipment company, right, wants to target parents and especially fathers and sons that are interested in, a new baseball product that they have. The
Hmm.
father, being a father, may be on certain websites that are not related to sports, but it's not about the website that we're putting the ad on. It's about the audience and where they are in their, like I said, do they know about your product? Have they been to your website already? And if they have been to your website, why did they leave, right? Did they get distracted, or did they, see something, or they didn't see something that they wanted to see? So it's really just all about understanding your customer and what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Or your target market, which is what, hitting your
Right.
target market. Who does your business appeal to?
Right.
I mean, do you even really know if it's age specific, if it's gender specific? All these different factors really curtail on how you market your business, right? How the
Yep.
wording you use. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And then again, I mean, I was just going to say that I only really spoke about, display and these banner ads that come up across the internet and on the USA Today Network partner sites.
Hmm.
But remember that there is a whole Facebook and Instagram advertising world out there, and there's a whole YouTube world out there, and
Yes.
your customers are there too. So that's also another strategy that we could potentially implement to be in front of a certain type of audience.
Exactly, exactly. We have a partner that's in the room with us, Oscar Capel. I don't know. Oscar, do you have any questions for Farah? Did
Well,
anything? Go
well,
ahead.
I missed. I couldn't get onto the Facebook Live. I'm having a little tech issue here, so I just caught the last few minutes. So I will be watching the replay, and then I will
Okay.
call Farah directly and ask the questions. And next week we could go over it again.
Oh
A
wow.
hundred
Okay.
percent.
Hey, you know what?
But
That would be
I
great. Farah, I'm gonna have to reserve you for next week as well.
okay.
Then
that was
you
a
I'll
know.
come
that was a
back.
cheap
I'll
ploy
come
to
back
get
next
Farah
week.
to come back. You see?
I'll
Yeah.
come back next week.
So
And again, I always say, even if now is not the right time, I understand that a lot of business owners are struggling with finances and advertising might not be, at the top of their priority list. Even if I give you some sort of insights or value and you learn something, then I've done my job. It's not always about becoming my client. I want to be able to help and educate.
but yeah, here's the thing though, right? And I'm going to just point this out is that marketing your business is what feeds your business, right? I mean, referrals are sometimes sporadic. And so sometimes you may get them and sometimes you may not, right? And so you need to have that agent that is constantly working for you to kind of generate new business, especially if your business is now went from storefront to being an online business. I mean, I've been watching the news, and a lot of places, a lot of restaurants have gone from being a sit-in restaurant to a delivery restaurant, right? And so now they have to be aware of what is my demographic, because I was used to the customer walking by my restaurant, walking in, buying a sandwich, walking back out. And I had traffic on street traffic to generate business. Now I'm waiting for somebody to call me to order a sandwich or order coffee and something else. So now I need to know what my traffic is online. Who's looking for my store, on the internet.
Yep, and to the other display side of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not only about who's looking for your store, but who can I get to know that I exist, right?
Wow. Yes.
And
Yes.
how can I, target every single person that lives within, 2 miles or this zip code that I'm in. So
Right.
that's the other
That's the
part
other
of it.
caveat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Farah. Thank you for coming
Thank you for
on.
having me again.
Wow. I am so
And I will
excited.
come back next week. And
Yeah.
I am definitely going to stay on for Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Please do that. Oscar, it's your court.
It's in my court. Thanks so
It's in
much.
your court.
Farah, one thing that I heard yesterday, which is it was really wild. It's who's letting your customers down. So your competition, somebody in your competition is letting your customers down. That's another way to look for business. It's like, this is why we are better than X, Y, and Z, because they have not come through with what they promised. So that was something I picked up, a little marketing thing the other day.
Yeah, and I mean, then against that point, targeting and target. I mean, I don't know if you heard this because you weren't on the call, but you could target your competitors' locations
Oh,
and have and
get
steal
some
their customers. Steal their customers, but it's not personal; it's business. So I'll leave it at that.
Listen, Coke and Pepsi have been at it forever, trying to steal each other's customers. So it's not,
I know.
we're not reinventing the
Listen,
wheel here.
I know.
but that's
Yep.
the principle of competition. It's
Right.
supposed to make you better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Competition is greases your mind to say, well, I can't stay stuck because my competitor might get ahead of me. So you dig in and you start finding ways to improve, and that's how Apple came about, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's again the competitiveness is what makes the internet the internet. And what makes this all so busy and, fragmented, because there's so
Yes,
much competition. So you just have to
absolutely.
Grant
be in
Cardone.
your,
Grant Cardone says, "Don't compete, dominate.
There you
Find
go.
out how to dominate in your area." He says, "Forget about competition. Competition is for the middle people. Like you want to dominate. You want to be the Amazon."
Hmm. But you
You,
have to compete in order to dominate.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you're dominating, that means that you've graduated.
Then you
It's
have no
almost like
competition.
right. It's like
right.
when your business has reached like this plateau, and you're like, uh, who am I competing against?
Right. I
Nobody.
want
Yeah.
I want my competitors to just see taillights and dust. That's it. It's just
I mean, it's like Amazon and Walmart right now.
right.
It's like, who do I shop with? Amazon or Walmart? Amazon or Walmart?
Yep.
There's really nobody else in that stratosphere that you could say, yeah, I want to fight with these guys. But I mean, they were all at one point competing against each other. The top five, I was just the top two. you
And you
know,
talk, and again, talk about domination. There was a time when Kmart was a lot bigger than Walmart.
right,
And
right.
the article was like, poor Walmart is trying to compete with giant Kmart.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years later, it's complete domination. Are there
Kmart
any
too.
Kmart's less? Yeah. Are there any Kmart's around anymore? I don't know.
I've
Yeah,
never seen one.
I haven't seen one either. I
I
think I
haven't
saw one the other day,
in a
And
somewhere.
picture.
Target's I love Target.
Yeah.
I love Target.
Target's in there too. Yeah, absolutely. But go ahead, do your presentation,
Okay,
Oscar.
let me get
Uh,
my where
how
am
do
I
I,
here?
I'm gonna stop
No,
my
no,
video.
you can stay right there. You don't worry about
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna have to share screen because I got the PowerPoint.
Yeah, go ahead, do your thing.
Um,
Oh,
um,
wait, 1 second, 1 second. I might have
I
to give
love,
you the powers. Okay, there you go.
I have the power.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, so I'll be there. Share slideshow from slideshow. Come on. Hello. There we go. Current slide. Okay. So yes, we'll be starting right now. Real quick before I get into how I became a certified identity theft risk management specialist. Way back in my former life, I was a dental technician, and dental technology is a very stressful job. And that's one of the things we are going to be talking about later on, stress and how to deal with stress. So way back when I was a dental technician, I was there for 38 years. Actually moved the lab out to Costa Rica for a while. Competition was getting really, really crazy. And I had a great job, good salary, a lot of benefits, except for one thing. And 40 million people found out in March the same thing. Job security there's no such thing as job security. And the place I was working with went bankrupt. So a lot of people are finding themselves in a situation. What do I do now? I need another job. I need to do something. One thing people can do is start businesses on their own. And this Mike Malio, I know about, went from homeless to millionaire doing recycling of metal. So we are in an era now that is called the gig economy. So you're finding ways to build income out of your, become a phoenix, rise from the ashes, as Phil says. So I was on TV and we talk about cybersecurity. And one of the things I talk about in Legal Shield and ID Shield is the problem with cybersecurity and identity theft. Most people think this is what identity theft look like. Some guy in his mother's basement trying to hack into your records. This was true way back when this was the latest cell phone that you could buy. So identity theft now is totally different. We are looking at a worldwide identity theft with breaches coming from state-sponsored terrorists because they have 24-hour, they're paying people 24-hour to hack into everything that we have. I believe the Pentagon gets 60,000 hacks attempts per day. So there is no business that is safe from identity theft and from hackers. Way back when we had the Equifax breach, we have 325 million people living in the country, and there was 147 million records taken in that breach. And we thought that was the end of the world. We had victims that will be looking over their shoulder for the rest of their lives. And that was the big headlines. And let's go back to last year. Last year, one hack was 1.2 billion, and the total for the year was 15.1 billion. 15.1 billion records. So we can do the math. How many times does 325 million go into 15.1 billion? So when people say my identity, yeah, I'm fine, mine won't be stolen. The sad fact is all of our information has been stolen several times and is out there on the market being sold. And that's when we find out about it, when there's an alert. So the other thing I tell people is identity theft is not just financial. We're looking at passports, social security numbers, driver's license. Any number that identifies you is stolen and is sold on the dark web. Another thing that people do not realize is the emotional toll of identity theft. It's a violation. There, you can't hide. All of your information is out there, and now there's nothing you can do to get it back. Another problem with identity theft is you have to prove yourself innocent. Gerber Guzman was arrested twice, 2 different times, spent 2 weeks in jail for a crime he didn't commit because his driver's license was used as identification, and the crime required the person to be arrested. So poor Mr. Guzman got arrested twice for that. Bad thing about identity theft is there is no demographic. There's no gender, race, or anything. This was the oldest man in America, had his bank account taken. And also this girl at 3 years old had her identity used and is now $750,000 in debt at 12. Try to get a college loan when everything says that you are in debt. The other problem is medical identity theft, because since banks are really cutting down on the types of financial identity theft you can do with a lot of blocks. I mean, everybody's got an alert on their phone. If somebody charges anything over, mine is set for $40. Anything over $40, I will get an alert. So the thieves are going to different types of identities because they're not looking for your identity. They're looking to sell your information. So if banking is not sellable, now what is sellable? Medical identity theft. This is the most dangerous because if, let's say, I still steal Phil's identity and I use his medical card to go get medical treatment, and I have diabetes, I have other illnesses, whatever is on my medical record is now also permanently on Phil's medical record. So if he goes to the hospital in an emergency and there are 2 different blood types on that medical record, it's going to be tough to find out which is his real blood type. So that I call this is the deadliest type of identity theft. So to try to fix it yourself is a problem because it is so complicated, especially medical, with the laws that do not allow you. Here's the fun part. If I'm using my medical record and I've merged it with Phil can't even look at his own medical record because of the HIPAA laws. So he cannot look at his medical record to find out what is really him and what is not him, because my records are in there now. So that is absolutely nuts, but that's the law. This is why you need licensed private investigators to do that job. We'll talk about that later. So there are companies that go out there and do monitoring, some better than others. This one is not the best one to use. If you grab any paper, you'll see what happens with the law coming down on them. Morgan Wright, who is the U.S. State Department senior anti-terror advisor, when they were talking about the Equifax breach, said, I have ID Shield because they have actual investigators. And that is what I was talking about earlier. If you don't have a licensed private investigator to restore your identity, it's a waste of money. All you're being told is your identity, your numbers have been used, and now you have to go fix it yourself. So that's not what you want to pay a monitoring service to do. ID Shield compared to the national leader, everything that you see there in red is what they do not cover, and every little check mark is what we do cover for about half the price. So we tell people don't get ripped off twice, one by the thief and the other by the company that's supposed to be doing your monitoring. So there are other types of stress that we come into on an everyday basis. Let me know if anybody has seen this type of stress. You have that lights come on behind you, and now there's going to be a problem. Legal Shield, the other service I have, is app-based, lets you talk to your law firm 24 hours a day. So in this situation, this button lets you submit a traffic ticket to the law firm. If it gets out of hand a little bit, you can call your law firm. And that is, again, it's available 24 hours a day all across the US and Canada. And now we have opened up in England. Problem with legal profession is expensive, it's unresponsive, it's unaccountable. And what Legal Shield has done is used the same type of marketing as, let's say, Uber, that's using disruptive innovation. They make it easier, simpler, more affordable. Same thing with Netflix. And Netflix, I like to talk about lawyers and the way law is practiced now and the way it's being practiced through Legal Shield, where Blockbuster would be your pay by the hour lawyer. And once you hang up the phone and you call again, you start another hour of legal time and the meter starts running. Netflix says, hey, if you give us whatever their monthly subscription is, we will let you watch any movie anytime you want, as often as you like, without having to repay for that movie. So that is exactly what Legal Shield does. It's the disruptive innovation is it lets you, for one price, access your law firm and not only ask questions, but you can also get your will, living will, healthcare power of attorney done, which is very important now because of the COVID going around, and we don't know if next week we are actually able to make our own decisions on health. So you need that set up ahead of time. The speeding ticket we talk about, preparing your will, we talked about a lot of things that is available through Legal Shield that is not available for the price point with a regular law firm. This is the law firm we use in New York. This is Feldman Kramer in Monaco. And if you see there up on top, it says Legal Plan Member Login. If you are part of Legal Shield, you can hit that little button. If not, you speak to Feldman Kramer in Monaco, but you do it on an hourly basis. And they are really good law firms, so they're a little on the pricey side. So that's what we've done. We've taken the expense, the unresponsiveness, and unaccountability out of the legal profession, because Legal Shield, the actual company that contracts these law firms, is in Ada, Oklahoma, and they monitor every single law firm to make sure they are the best law firms for their customers. So the law firms get paid once a month and they get paid in advance. So when I pick up the phone, I am their most important customer. This is how I used it for myself, which is I had a problem with Toyota. They fixed the car. They did a great job fixing it, but 2 years later, the part went bad. And when I went to Toyota, they said, sorry, but you're out of warranty by 1 year and 30,000 miles. Normally, that would have ended the conversation, but I spoke to my lawyers at Feldman Kramer in Monaco, and they sent what I call a motivational letter to Toyota. And guess what? The manager, same manager that told me there's a door, don't let it hit you on the way out, told me, Mr. Capel, we are really sorry for the misunderstanding. And here's your money back, and please call your lawyers off. That was a really good feeling. Another great thing we do is our group helps fund Operation Underground Railroad. And if you haven't heard about it, it is a nonprofit that hunts down child sex traffic rings, and they break up the rings, they arrest the sex traffickers, and then they rehabilitate the kids back into society. And that's pretty much what I'm really, really proud of, that connection to us. So what's your next step? Very easy. My app is available for download, and there should be a little video there to tell you all about Legal Shield and ID Shield and how it can help you sleep better at night. And one more thing that I do, if you're a business owner, I will run your business through a dark web scan. The people that I ran through here had their business was hacked and 30,623 pieces of information was stolen. And this is available for sale on the dark web because this is what we monitor, what is actually for sale. The most dangerous part of that is that PII, the 11,044, that is personally identifiable information of the customers that are using this website and that business. So these are customers' information that is now being sold, and that is a big problem for businesses now. There will be a security credit score for businesses in the future, and if you do not have a good, a security score, if you don't have a good security score, you will not be able to do business like you're used to. The banks will not lend money. Other businesses will not work with you, and trying to do work internationally will be impossible. So that is my presentation in a nutshell. There's my information. And Phil, I'm ready for questions from you or Farah or anyone else that's online.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. Really awesome stuff. You know what? I love every time I hear your presentation, Oscar. There's always something on there that that is very interesting to me, because how many of us are really just kind of walking around unprotected? You know, in a digital. I mean, we're on the subject of basically being in a digital world today, and it's like all of our information is somewhere online, right? We've filled out applications. We've shopped. You know, how many times I remember when Target said they said that Target's database was hacked, right? And so how many of our information is literally just up for grabs? All because we like the pair of shoes. You know.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
First of all, I think it's so interesting that I've never heard of a 12-year-old being in debt $750,000 before she hit 12, I think you said, or 16.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you think, how safe do you think the auto-populated credit card information is in our phones?
Well, here's oh man, I can do a half hour on that itself. One of the problems that we have with our phones, there's a new type of identity theft where people hijack your phone. So the way it works is they go in, they have the information that is you, and go into a Verizon shopper or whatever and say, I lost my phone, and I need a new phone, and back up all my data and give me the new SIM card. So now you're looking at someone that has your phone, changes the password. You no longer have access to your phone. What is on that phone? Your whole life. I mean, everything, every password, every whatever is living on our phones. So having your phone hijacked is, it's I don't know. I don't think there's a word to describe it right now, because it's our whole lives are literally on our phones.
Yeah.
So auto-populating is great, but if your phone is hijacked, it will auto-populate with these secret, the little dots by someone else.
Okay, interesting. On an individual level, not really a company level, my friend was hacked through a dating app site.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it was so sneaky how they did it. I mean, it was every time they called her, it would be this like low voice that she couldn't really understand the language. And they kept calling people she knew from her phone, but it wasn't really her.
Right.
So like her mom would see, oh my God, Janine is calling me. And Janine's like, no, I'm not calling you. That's not me. And they had access to all of her.
Right.
But
So there's in my whole presentation takes about 45 minutes. I go through the difference between a scam and identity theft. They're two different things. A scam targets you directly, and that's for money. Where identity theft is taking your information and using it personally. Like social security number. If I don't have a social security number and I need a job, I will go out and buy your social security number and get a job. So I'm not stealing money from you, but if I do it as a 1099 or I am a contractor, I'm not going to pay taxes. I have to pay taxes at the end of the year. Unfortunately, I walk away with all the money and your tax return says, hey, where are the taxes you're supposed to pay at the end of the year? And that's when a lot of people find out that their social security numbers have been used for a job. The other thing when we're talking about child identity theft, the majority of child identity theft, believe it or not, is family oriented. You got an uncle that's got a gambling problem and now gets, the new niece's social security number and starts gambling under that number.
Wow.
So that is, and there was a report. I have it in my other slides, and it's about 25 pages just detailing child identity theft, and the major one was family, and it's shocking. It's like you can't trust Uncle Joe because he's drinking too much and goes gambling and takes your kid's identity, which makes for a really sucky Thanksgiving, But
that's why we have to make sure that all of our private information is secured digitally and physically, because it's amazing what people can do with your information. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we're going to have to come to a close because our next program is going to have to come on in a minute. But I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and she mentioned that she had bad credit, so it didn't really matter. But what I wanted to point out to her was, they don't just use your profile for, to buy a car or anything like that. Some of these people clone your information so that they can do illegal things as well. And then the next thing you know, you're being pulled over and you have a record. You have escaped prison 3 times.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah. And that happens.
Be like, what are you talking about, man?
There's a woman. There's a woman that I don't have the exact name, but she has a letter from the state's attorney general because she was arrested 22 times. That's how bad the crime was. So every time, I don't know if you've seen police cars with those little boxes at the that's a high-speed license plate reader. So you don't have to be pulled over for something. As your car is going by, that's going to read the license plate. It's going to flag the screen in the police car, wanted, apprehend and arrest immediately. So 22 times this happened. And she has a physical letter from the state's attorney general says, I am not the person you're looking for, because that's the way the system works. There is no, okay, it's not a half-hour TV show that, they find out who the culprit is and they fix it. This goes on, as that slide says, people will be looking over their shoulder the rest of their lives.
Well, we want to thank again our sponsor for today, which is Tom Estes, who's with Allstate. Again, his number is 973-376-8914. Please give them a call so that we can continue to bring this information to you. Thank you again all for watching. I'm sure this information was helpful to you because it was helpful to me. And so I'm going to make sure I use as much as I possibly can of what we're receiving today. Thank you all again for watching. Oscar, thank you for coming on. Fara, you're priceless. And we will see you again next week because Oscar demanded it. He,
yes.
He sent me a letter, so I have to do it. But yeah, we will definitely love to see you again next week. All right, take care, everyone. And I'll see you in another 5 minutes with Yolanda in Empowering Your Mind. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye bye.